and that is NWIWRAP with Hard Times off of Desert Call. And in the studio now with me is Rockstar Johnny Nye. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Ken.
Sure, no problem. Since you had such a long drive to get out here, I invited you to come a little bit early before we get to talking about wrestling at 9:30 to just play guest DJ for a little bit. And I think I have learned something about you by accident, which I had a suspicion of, and now I'm certain, because wrestlers have nicknames. And so Rockstar Johnny Nye, I just, okay, that's the nickname. And so when I asked if you wanted to bring some tunes, you had sent me the message, yeah, I'll bring my CD. And I thought, oh, now it makes sense why he's Rockstar Johnny Nye. And sure enough, you come in with a copy of your CD. So we're going to listen to a track off of that to start things with, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, tell us a little bit about what to expect and what you do on this thing.
Well, the band is called The Deeper End. We've been around for a while. A lot of changes in the lineup recently, but we're on our way back with a new album. But this is our first album. This first track is called Blame Me. It's kind of about a fallout that I had with some high school friends, and where I just felt like they blamed me for something that was out of my control. And it was just most of my lyrics, I really put some effort into making them about something real instead of just writing lyrics for the sake of writing lyrics. So every song to me means something, so this is Blame Me.
All right, we'll take a listen. And then we have a second track queued up from a different band.
Yes.
That you wanted folks to listen to?
This is one of my newly found favorites, Motionless in White. This is actually indie wrestler's theme song that he uses. His name is Sami Callihan, the Death Machine, if you haven't heard of him. Great wrestler. He was in NXT for a little while as Solomon Crow, but he comes out to this on the indies in AAW, and it's called Death March. It's a really cool tune. Very, very aggressive rock music, but really cool theme song.
Excellent. All right, so we'll listen to both those tunes in a row. Here we go.
So blame me for all your problems. So blame me for all your insecurities. This life has left you here alone. The choice you have is yours.
It's just a hair past 9:30 here on WVLP. This is Ken the Metal Professor, and it's time to stop moshing in the studio to metal and start talking about wrestling. And with me right now is rock star Johnny Nye. He's setting aside his rock star persona, and we're going to be talking wrestling for just a little bit. So once again, welcome.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks for having me.
Sure, and I appreciate the effort you've made, because it wasn't just like a 20-minute drive for you to get here. Right, it was a little bit longer.
So it was a little longer. I live in Oak Park now, so it's a little bit of a drive. But I actually came in from my parents. I was hanging out over there, so just came from Crown Point. So not
that's
bad.
okay. Great, that's not so bad. I don't feel so bad then. I'm going to take my water bottle back. So that's great, and you're also giving up your chance to watch Elimination Chamber live as it happens, which is.
That is true. I was looking forward to that one, but this is that's a little more important. So.
Yeah, good. And I mean that's when I picked this Sunday night 8 to 10 time slot, that part of it didn't occur to me. That as long as I'm doing this, I will never get to watch a pay-per-view as it's happening. I have to wait till I get home and catch up on the network.
That is true. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but it's on the network for your leisure.
Yeah, and sometimes you can skip things that way, which you can't skip if you. Not that I ever would.
No,
but just
every match
in case.
is important, right?
Right. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about some shows that have just happened in the area. One of which you were on, and you can give a lot more information about that. Then we'll talk about some shows coming up, some of which you will be involved with, and you can give a lot more information about that. And then we'll just talk about kind of how you have gotten to where you are and where you see things going. So this area, Northwest Indiana, is sort of caught in between two hot zones, right? So Chicago is a wrestling hot zone, and it turns out that like the South Bend area, at least to me, seems to be a hot zone of different groups running shows. And so we get a few shows relatively close to us, but now we're within a reasonable drive in both directions to all sorts of good things. And I'm concentrating on the Indiana scene, because I'm trying to not, if once I break down those walls and start getting to Chicago shows, it's going to be all over, because I'll be out multiple times a week, and that wouldn't be good for my pocketbook or probably my marriage.
Definitely not.
But so just as an example, so this past weekend there were like, that I know of, at least 3 shows just on the Indiana side of things that were within a reasonable driving distance. So Friday night I went out to Warsaw, Indiana, which is a little over an hour from Valpo, and I got to see FWF, Functified Wrestling Federation, put on a show there called Rampage. There were 9 matches altogether, and some of the highlights, Congo Kong was on the card. It was a surprise. He wasn't billed, but he came in and took care of Noah Walker pretty quickly. Nick Cutler and Ames had a match together. That was a lot of fun. I don't think I've seen either of those guys in a match that I haven't liked yet. The Midwest Monsters were in action, and they beat Kevin Storm and Theo Storm, the Storm Brothers. And that's one of the cool things about being in this area is a lot of these names are there. The names are almost just as recognizable as the companies themselves, because folks get around it and perform and wrestle at different feds.
Absolutely.
And so in a little bit you can talk about all the the different ones that you've been in. So if anybody is actually interested in the rundown of the full 9 matches, just head for metalprofessor.com, where I've got a quick write-up of the results of those matches. And so they're having a follow-up show in March, and it's called Crossfire. And might be a good idea to know what happened at this recent show, so that things at the next show actually make sense. And so last night, people in this area who were into wrestling and wanted to go to a show actually had to pick between 2 reasonably close events. So we had ARW Pro running in Hammond. They were doing a fundraiser for the Oliver P. Morton High School, their band uniform fundraiser, and so that was last night. And I don't know a whole lot about what the results were, but I do know that our main man, Dakota Prodigy, came away with that Indiana State Championship
Sure
that he took away from Colin Cambridge. So
very proud of Dakota.
Yeah, big props for him. I always like watching him do his stuff. And then. So finally, also last night down in DeMott was Acme Championship Wrestling this is at the DeMott Boxing Club, which I have not been to yet, but I'm going to get down there someday. This is a card you were on?
Yes.
And so what did you do? Were you successful? Who were you against? And if any other matches that you can kind of run down, go for it.
Okay, awesome. I was successful. I wrestled Jared Kripke. Really great competitor. Can't say enough about him. He's got one of those attitudes as some of the competitors out there that I wrestle have, but really competitive match. Could have gone either way, really. Really just hit him with my finish, the Annihilation, towards the end after he missed his weird corkscrew splash that he went for off the top rope. So sometimes when you take those high risks, they don't pan out. So after he missed that, I was able to hook the Annihilation and finish him off. So that was it was good. I've been on a little tear here recently, so hopefully I'll be able to get towards some of the championships. I had the Intercontinental Championship for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 409 days.
Oh, wow.
actually. So I lost that it's probably been 6 months now, but never got a rematch for that. So I'll have to talk to Michael Allen about that, see what's going on there. But
Hopefully he's not avoiding you.
no, and I think he might be. But no, I will. The rest of the card was really excellent. From the opening match of Xavier Black, he defended he has the Intercontinental Championship now, and defended his championship, and against a newcomer who actually is terrible of me, but I can't remember his name right now. He was a last minute replacement, but he did a really amazing job, and the match was really, really good to start the show. Xavier Black is another one. He's up and coming. He's got the right skills for the job. He's got that attitude too, but he thinks the world's against him, but he's out there to prove something, and he does it. So got to give him respect for that.
Well, you know what they say, just because you're paranoid and think everybody's out to get you doesn't mean they're not.
That's true. That's very true. The rest of the card was really good. The main was Austin Fury defending his ACW championship against Dave Allen, who I'm sure a lot of you guys know he wrestles all over the place. Has been Fire Pro champion for a significant amount of time. Really, really good match to finish the show. Austin Fury, though, he did end up getting on top and winning with Frog Splash. So it was a heck of a match, though. I was really good to see it. And then we had also the debut of Dazzling Donnie.
Ah, Dazzling Donnie. Was he there with his confetti and everything?
He did a glitter bomb.
All right.
On Mr. Christopher Kent. So that was a fun match. Everybody really enjoyed that one. It was hilarious, to be honest with you. But Donnie's he's a hoot.
I've seen him a couple of times now. And the first time I saw him, I just heard him get announced, and he walked out, and I was like, okay, this is happening. And by the end of the match, I loved it.
Oh,
it was
exactly
so much fun.
The reaction that everybody else had. And his music just really sets the tone. He comes out to that silly Kesha song, and like as soon as it hits, everybody's just like, "What am I going to see here?" And that is exactly what you get, is something crazy every time. So it was very entertaining.
Good. So toot your own horn a little bit here, because you talked about your finisher. So leading up to that, talk about, if somebody hasn't seen you before, what's your style? What can people expect to see when they see a Rockstar Johnny Nye match? And describe that finishing move.
Okay. My finish is, well, I'll preface it with this. Growing up, my two favorite wrestlers when I was younger was Triple H and X-Pac. Both DX guys, and I was just really, really liked them and followed them. It didn't matter if they were heels. I actually really liked the heels when I was growing up, and I basically combined their two finishers together. So it is like a sit-down pedigree. I do it a couple of different variations depending on who I'm wrestling. Last night I double arm underhook the guy, and I pick him straight up and then come down with this in the sit down position and basically smash his face into the ground.
You say that with such joy. You can't see it, but he's got a big smile on his face when he talks about smashing somebody's face into the ground.
Yep. And if they're a bigger guy, where like I just isn't conducive to pick them straight up, I hook them, and then I just kind of jump backwards with them and and smash their face in like almost the normal pedigree position. But I sit out instead of go to the knees. So it ends really well. I don't know, nobody's ever kicked out of it. So
that's good.
It's been pretty successful so far. But as far as the rest of my moveset, it's a lot of like hard hitting stuff, a lot of power moves. I'm a lot bigger than a lot of the guys at ACW, other than Drex Odell. That man is massive.
Oh, yeah.
He is a powerhouse. I can't say enough about how insanely agile he is for such a big dude. I mean, somebody that size should not be able to do a moonsault off the top rope or the
Sure.
second rope or any rope, but he can, and it's really impressive to watch him. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, unless I'm wrestling him, I gotta adjust. But you know, you wrestle, your style has to adjust for who you're fighting, or else, you know, you're not gonna win. So if you're fighting a smaller guy, you wrestle with more power. Try to use your size to your advantage. If you're wrestling a guy the same size, you can do that. You can, you know, just try to out wrestle him straight up. But when you're fighting a big guy, you gotta speed it up. You know, hit and move, hit and move. That's the game when you're fighting those big guys. So, I know in the future I'm gonna probably end up having to go against that Drex Odell character. So it's gonna be my strategy for sure is to move as quick as I can.
Hit fast and run away.
Yes, because if he catches me, it's not going to be good.
It's funny that you talk about his size because he is big, and you had mentioned Fire Pro Wrestling before, and there he tags with Mustafa.
Yes.
And when I see Drex Odell next to Mustafa, he looks kind of tiny.
I know Mustafa is beyond huge.
Yeah.
That guy, that's another thing. What is he, like 400 pounds? He's massive.
I don't know.
Like, just crazy. It's fun. It's fun to watch, though. Like, I'll tell you that. Watching a guy like that move around the ring is impressive.
I do have to say you're killing me here, though, with talking about how you're here. You know, when you were growing up and watching X-Pac and Triple H, and I was already old when they were a thing. So I just wanted to mention that, you know, that just gets me. That was your growing up era. But so getting into watching them and kind of picking up on what their style was, where and how did you make that bridge from seeing them do their thing and then deciding this is what you want to do? You want to go out there and risk your health and life and limb for strangers just like they do.
Yeah. You know what? It's kind of the way I watched it. When I was just throughout my whole life watching, I've watched them since I was a little kid. In Hogan and Warrior and you know, Andre the Giant. Those when I was really little, but I still remember watching them back long time ago. And then when I knew what was going on during the Attitude Era, but I always watched it in a way where I kind of studied it, and I didn't even realize I was doing it until, like, you know, you get in, you know, middle school and high school, and you start just messing around with your friends, and you figure out, like, oh, I can actually do these moves, and I didn't even think about that. Like, so it's one of those things, like, just you have to watch things and almost study them, you know. And when I realized when I was doing that without even knowing it, that, you know, maybe this is something that I really love and want to do and pursue. And it was always been a dream, you know, since then, and I had the opportunity to do it at ACW. ACW, I can't say enough good things about it. It's a company that really lets the guys that are not experienced and have not been around forever an opportunity to shine. And I think that's the best part about it. They really dwell on giving people opportunities, and that, I think that's so important, because you're never going to make a name for yourself if you're never given any opportunities.
Right.
And so, I mean, I probably shouldn't have, but I had my first match was, I mean, I trained for like 2 weeks. I mean, so, like, I mean, it was one of those things that, like, you kind of, you know, by fire kind of thing, where you just get thrown right in. We don't do that anymore. But when the company was starting, it was one of those things, a lot of misfit toys trying to put this together.
Yeah.
It was kind of similar to the ECW kind of thing, where it was just like a bunch of guys that just loved wrestling and wanted to go put on a show. And it's evolved so much from that. And we had a training facility built, and that's where we had the shows. And
Okay, that's the DeMott Boxing Club?
Yep, the DeMott Boxing Club got a big extension, and we train in there, and that's where we put the shows on, and have the ring set up all the time to be able to work on stuff. And it's been really good. Roach was the trainer down there. He's since stepped aside, but he worked with us for a long time, just to try to get everybody ready, you know, and so they didn't hurt themselves, and so it was nice to have that. And then also, like, we bring in guest trainers now, and we kind of work to train newer guys. If they come in, just since we've passed on that knowledge is priceless. So we use what we've learned and try to teach the other guys. And we were working on trying to get Grin over to help us out, since he's going to be soon retiring. So maybe he'll step in and help us out for a little while. But it should be good, and the future looks really bright for the company. So
Good. Now, is there somebody you can think of who is sort of the other than Johnny Nye, who's come through Acme and has trained there and learned there, and then has kind of gone on and gotten bigger and gotten more exposure, maybe a little more regional or national? Are there any examples of somebody that's really made that step up?
not quite national, but regionally, absolutely.
Sure.
Austin Fury
Okay.
He started in ACW with me. We were both on the very first show. He's been leaps and bounds. Every time I see him, he's better and better. It's really impressive to watch him. The stuff he can do in the ring. Like I was talking to you earlier off air about AJ Styles. To me, like he can do those things that I wish I could do. You know, the flips and the crazy springboards and the stuff that you just watch and you're in awe of. And that's the stuff that he does, and I love watching him wrestle. And he's a good friend of mine, and I can't say enough good things about him, and I hope he really goes on and does some great things. And I think he will. I think he's young enough. I think he's I think he's 18 yet. I think he's 17 or years old.
He looks really young.
Yeah, and he's already awesome. So, I mean, just I can't even imagine once he gets a little older how great he's going to be. And then Drex Odell. He's another one. He goes all over the place, and like he actually is a good friend of mine. But I brought him into ACW, and he started after me. He was at the first show in the crowd to see me, and I think the first year actually he was almost at every show, if he wasn't at every show. And then he started wrestling. He picked it up so quick because he's a soccer player. So it's just the athletic part of it was just for how big he is. He was able to move. So after he learned the technique, it was easy for him. You know, he just picked it up so easy, and he's gone on for Fire Pro and for all these other companies, and just worked his butt off. So it's really nice to see him succeed too. Good.
So let's move forward a little bit, because we've mentioned Fire Pro and talked about Austin Fury, and so in terms of looking ahead to some shows coming up that folks can check out next weekend on Saturday the 18th, Fire Pro Wrestling is going to be doing their show called Revelations at Impact Christian Church in Merrillville, and Austin Fury is going against Adam Bueller for the Impact Championship. Kevin Graves will take on Dashing Dick Davis in a no-holds-barred match, and Flash Harris versus Christopher Kent in a no disqualification match. Those are the matches I know of so far. So you're probably pulling for Austin Fury in that one.
Always.
Good. And you said there you have information about some upcoming Acme shows. So
I do.
Go ahead and lay that on us.
We've got March 10th in Roselawn at the Lincoln School. It's a fundraiser for the 6th graders to go overnight to Camp Tecumseh.
Okay.
So
I think it's a YMCA camp.
Okay.
I think so.
And its show starts at 7. Doors are at 6:30. Only $8. So it's going to be really good. Roselawn at the Lincoln School is always a great show for us. It's always a big turnout. Always the crowd's always real hot. So it's always a fun time. The guy who owns our company, Jimmy Holmes, he actually teaches there.
Oh, neat.
So it's always awesome because he really brings in the people at that particular show. And we do a couple shows there a year, and it's always really, really great. And that one is March 10th, just in case you didn't hear me. And then the next one is April 21st at Franklin Elementary School in Hammond. I heard it had a Whiting address, but it's like right on the border, I guess. Not extremely familiar with the area, but it's to raise money for updates for their school. So Doors are at 6 on that one. Show starts at 7, $8 again. So that's going to be great. I mean, to help these schools out for these fundraisers and just to be able to put on shows in front of a bigger crowd. You know, it's awesome when we go do schools because of all the kids and the reaction from all the kids is awesome because, you know, they just, you're, as crazy as this sounds, you are on TV to them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when they're there, you are, you know, the John Cenas, you are the AJ Styles. Like it's not, there's no difference to them at that moment in time. So it's just really great when you do a school show because they really, you're a superstar and you really feel that way. And it's awesome. It's really rewarding.
Yeah, and what's really cool, you mentioned both of those shows are fundraisers, and that seems to be what several of the other groups that kind of run in and around the Northwest Indiana and kind of northern and central area, Indiana area do, is a lot of philanthropic efforts like that, you know, setting up shows at schools or you know, VFWs or like ARW Pro runs at American Legion, and that helps support the American Legion there. And that's really neat, the community support that a lot of these groups take part in.
Yeah, it really is. And it's something that I think the whole wrestling community around here really thrives on. And I think that we show that respect to the community and try to give back, and therefore that people come out to see it. You know, like, because there's so many companies and there's a lot of wrestling out there. So when you choose to spend your night with watching a local wrestling show, like, we do appreciate that. You know, it's not taken lightly. You know, that's something you could be doing anything else besides that, and it's amazing that they come out and do and support us and support these causes. It's really nice. It's really awesome.
Neat. So what is the farthest away that you've gone to take part in a show?
To go see a show or to wrestle in a show?
To be in.
Okay. Honestly, I've only wrestled for 2 companies.
Oh, okay.
It's been kind of a weird transition as far as to get out of that one stigma, but ACW is my home, so like I wrestle there every show.
Sure.
It's been, you know, something I've always done since I started, and then I debuted at ARW, which I really enjoyed. That was a great experience. It was back in October.
And that's what it was, you and Dakota Prodigy.
Yes, that was a really great match. Ended in a draw, time limit draw.
Time limit draw, I remember that.
And I was really happy with the response that we got because nobody there knew who I was, which was cool. To get the "Let Them Fight" chant after that match. It was just really awesome. I mean, that really meant something to me when you debut at a company like ARW, and because I actually, a funny story is ARW is the first indie show I ever went to. I was in high school and I went to see them. They were up at a place called the Omega Center, which was in Holbert off of 61st. It's not like a Target storage, but it was like a soccer complex, and they used to like have the shows in the middle of the soccer fields. And I remember going to those shows and I would be there every month to see all those guys, and it was awesome, and it was very entertaining, and talk to the guys about how to get trained and how to do this and that. And even took a bump in the ring with a coat on randomly one day with one of the guys. He's like, you know, just see, you know, you think you can do this, come in here and take a bump. And so like, and I was like, ugh, you know, because you know, if nobody really shows you think you know, but you don't, you know. And so it was fun.
What did it feel like the very first time?
You know, it felt like, because I think I hit my head the first time, so
Ouch.
it didn't feel good. It was like, just like you slipped on the ice. It was like, ugh. But no, it's a great experience that I got to debut over there, and hopefully I'll get over there again soon. I've been in talks with the booker over there, so hopefully one of these days I get back over there. So we'll see.
Is there somebody out there that you haven't had a chance to wrestle against yet that you would like to?
Oh, there's a lot. Really, there's so many guys that I haven't gotten a chance to be in the ring with that I'd love to. Even in ACW, I haven't ever wrestled Xavier Black, and he's really just gone leaps and bounds from when he started, and I would love to see that match and to have that match and see who can come out on top. Jeremy Hadley, it's another guy like I really respect, and he does really cool stuff in the ring. He's got an amazing character and really, really good worker. Man, there's so many. Yeah, I mean, Nick Cutler, I even saw him wrestle on Raw against it's like a tag team match or something. But
he got tossed around by Sheamus, and now he sells that picture when he's
I'm sure,
when he's at other shows.
I'm sure he does. But yeah, I fought a good friend of his, Greg Glover, once, and that was amazing. That was a great time. He's such a professional.
I was sad when he moved to Indianapolis recently because I was
know.
just starting to really catch on to how good he was, and I was trying to go to most of the shows that I would see that his name would be on, and I don't know how much often that's going to happen anymore.
I know he's really talented, and he's really down to earth, and he's taught me a lot. Just from the small time I've known him, just in the back, just talking to me about things and helped me move forward in my career, and it's been really, really great. Who else? I'm sure there's more. John Hudson.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that guy who, if you don't know John Hudson, please go online and look him up, because that guy is like chiseled out of stone.
Yeah.
And he is extremely good. And it would be intimidating in the ring with him, but
I
it
can
would
imagine.
be a heck of an experience.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed watching him too.
Yes, I mean those are just the local guys, but then there's guys like I played his theme song earlier, Sammy Callahan. I mean, that would be a dream come true to get in the ring with Sammy Callahan. You know, like if I could make that work, that would be amazing. You know, any of the guys from Ohio, the Chris brothers, or any of those guys, Desmond Xavier, all those guys that are traveling the world, making it happen for themselves, and it's impressive. It's really cool to see those guys succeed. And yeah, I mean, actually, I was in a triple threat match with Drex Odell, but at the time, we were kind of working together, so I really didn't really wrestle Drex Odell. So I'd still like to do that too. So that would be fun.
That'll be good. Well, we'll look for that at upcoming shows. One of the things I'm learning with having folks in the studio here is I've got to leave more than half an hour, because this time disappears fast. So we got to wrap things up and make way for the replay of Punk Rock Radio. You can listen to that for a little bit on your drive out here. So just to close out here, if folks are interested in following you or dropping a message or whatever on social media, what are some of the ways they can do that?
Okay. I have a Twitter account. It's just at Johnny Nye. I was going to put the Rockstar in there. I need to change that. But right now it's just at Johnny Nye. So you can talk to me on there, ask me questions, ask me about shows, whatever. My Facebook, if you just look for Rockstar Johnny Nye, I'm on there. I put everything up on there for shows. So that's always going to be updated for the next shows. And if you want to ask me a question or talk to me about how you can become a wrestler, we're always training at ACW. So if anybody's interested in becoming a wrestler, please let any of us know.
Okay.
We can make that happen for you.
And just one last time, the date of that next ACW show was March 10th?
March 10th, I do believe, yes. March 10th at Lincoln School in Roselawn, Indiana.
Okay, and I have metalprofessor.com/NWIWRAP, NWIWRAP for Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. It's a mouthful. I will get that information up there, and it will be in the list with all the other upcoming shows that I know about. So
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming in and spending some time here in Valparaiso. I'm glad the weather cooperated.
Yes, me too.
And best of luck with all your endeavors coming up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and here comes Punk Rock Radio.